Previously on Spenelli Speaks. I feel like I'm shouting.
Know you've been a good friend, and that's through the thick and thin, and I know it's never gonna end, 'cause you've been a good friend.
Hi everyone, Danny here. Welcome back to my channel. It is the start of another weekly vlog. Today is Sunday. I skipped yesterday, just was feeling like taking a day off, and that is quite all right. In fact, I don't even remember what I really did yesterday other than like work stuff and relaxing. And I started a knitting project, which I will show you, I'm sure, later on this week. I am not very good at it. It's pretty sad looking, but I'm doing it. So that's the important thing. But I thought I would stop and get in touch with you right now because I am getting ready for Double Booked Co.'s live new product launch, which is later on today. And I'm trying something different. Usually when we show off our products, we do it like physically. So like I'll take one of our new bookmarks and I'll just kind of like show it on the screen. But as you can see, because our bookmarks are laminated, it has like that glare. And then it doesn't really pick up the colors very well. So I'm going to try something where I'm going to do all of my photography first, get it in the computer, and then do a screen share in StreamYard. I know, so this really kills my whole procrastination bit. So I have to actually be ahead of the game on this one. But this week we only have 2 new collections, so it's not that big of a deal. But I thought I would tell you all about that. So if you haven't already seen that, that went up on Sunday. So you will have already seen it. So maybe you're interested. But those were, we have like a coffee latte floral collection that we're putting out today. Or tomorrow, Monday. And then we also have like this homey one. It's got like makeup and breakfast stuff and then cats and dogs. So very like muted pastel-y colors. So as we're heading into spring, we have those. So those I'm going to take pictures of, and hopefully that'll work better. I'm hoping that it just picks up the colors better and people can see everything a little bit better than how we've been doing it. So always a work in progress. As far as reading goes, while I'm going to do this, I'm going to actually listen to Wolf Hall. I don't know if it's going to stay up for you, but I'm 38% through the book right now. So I'm hoping to get some done. I always listen at double speed, so yeah, it should be interesting. It's kind of boring, but it's also fascinating just to see this kind of way in which it's been written. So I'm looking forward to continuing more reading about Henry VIII and his ridiculousness, because it's just like, I'm not one of those people that like, I'm a fan of Henry VIII. I'm not. I think he's scum. But the politics and the religious talks that surround what he did it's so interesting. It's appalling and it's crazy, but it's also, because it was so long ago, I mean 1500s or whatever, it's fascinating. It's so fascinating to just see how this all went down, especially since, from my understanding, like none of these women really fought to not be his wife. Like Anne Boleyn was, from what I understand, and maybe I'm only getting the fictional accounts, like she was vying for that spot. So like, is your want for the crown more than the want to stay alive? Because, I mean, at this point, like, he was just gonna go through wives. It's crazy. It's crazy. I can't wait to read. I have a book The Wives of Henry VIII. I really want to read that soon. So, anywho, I feel like I'm rambling, but as far as my reading goes, nothing much has changed. I haven't read too much more. I basically have been reading in Kristen Lavenstatter, and one of my ultimate favorite characters in the entire trilogy just died. And I'm really sad about it. Like, so sad. And I really wish it would have been somebody else because he deserves to die because he's scum. I can't stand him. Anywho, so I'm gonna put on Wolf Hall and then I'm going to do this and then I'll edit and everything else. And maybe I will check in with you later. Later I have the live launch, and then right after the live launch we are going to be doing our reading sprints for Double Book Co's book club. We're reading Snow Falling on Cedars. So I'm actually going to listen to that on audio, and I'm going to knit during our reading sprints. So I'm kind of excited about that. But that's all. I'll talk to you guys later. Hi everyone. It is Tuesday morning, and I am just getting some bookmarks into the books that I have been reading lately because I was not using bookmarks in them. I was using like a receipt and kind of just doing one of those things, which I don't like doing, but because it does that. So yesterday was a wash because I was babysitting my buddy, and that takes a lot out of you if you have ever babysat a 5-year-old, because they're not your kids, so you can't really like do things without like watching them. But he's always really good. We just watched some Bluey, we did a puzzle, we did some reading, so it was good. It was a good time. But it also, I can't vlog while he's here. But anywho, on Sunday you saw me and I was getting ready for Double Book Co's live launch, which went really well. I liked the change up I did with showing pictures as opposed to showing the physical items. And then we did our productivity sprints. And during those sprints, I was listening to the audiobook of Snow Falling on Cedars, which is Double Book Co's book club pick for February. And so far so good in this book. It's definitely way more descriptive than I feel like it needs to be. And what I mean is there's certain things that are described in here that I was like, I don't think that has anything to do with the story. So in the beginning, we are seeing courtroom scenes and then flashbacks to what brought us to the courtroom. So essentially a man has been murdered and they have a suspect who is being charged. And then it flashes back to like when the body was found and the process of what we come to then suspecting this person. I haven't gotten there yet. But when the body is brought to the coroner starts to describe the body and like describes the man parts in great detail. And I was like, why do we need to know this? This is not necessary to the plot. I mean, it's so weird. So that's what I mean by being really descriptive. And there's other instances of that, but that one sticks out in my mind the most. Other than that, I do like where it's going. I like that it's bouncing between the courtroom and the actual events. It kind of reminds me of To Kill a Mockingbird, and then it also reminds me of Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, because we have like that courtroom kind of atmosphere. So I'm liking it. So one thing I would say for people who are reading this book, there are a lot of people introduced right away. There's like there's a reporter, there's the murdered person, there's a coroner, there's a sheriff, there's a deputy, there's wives of some of these people, there's parents of some of these people. Because what the author is trying to do is trying to establish a community, trying to establish like who these people are and where they come from, because this is in the 1940s, I think. The 1950s, but it's going back to the 40s as well because of the war, because a lot of these people are veterans. So it's interesting, and like race and ethnicity and nationality plays a big role in here. You know who everyone is. Like they'll say so-and-so and so, and then they'll be like, he's a German or a Danish person or a Japanese person. So it's always saying what nationality the person is, which I find very interesting, and then will be a big, I believe will be a big piece of this, because the man being accused of the crime is Japanese. And from what I understand, I don't think he did it. I think it's basically assuming that he did it because of his nationality. So it's very interesting so far. I'm liking the audiobook. And I realized I didn't ever test this theory before, but I read a lot faster than an audiobook does, which I always assumed that I was getting more done if I was doing an audiobook, but I guess not, because when I was trying to follow along, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could be reading this so much faster. But anywho, I will probably still continue going back and forth, because I had started a knitting project with that. I should show you that. Let me grab that real quick. So I had started this knitting project earlier in the week, and so while we were doing our sprints, I decided to work on the knitting. Now, I haven't knit in years, like in years, so I know this isn't my best work. Not even close, because I can see like where, like there's a hole right there, there's a hole right there, there's a hole right there. I can see where it dropped stitches and just skipped over to the next one. But you know what? I don't care, because it's for me, and I'm making like a little, like, I guess security blanket like thing. So it's not like supposed to be a full blanket size, but I'm gonna try to make it as tall as I can, because like this, obviously, it's kind of rippled now because it's fitting on the thing, but once it's all like completely flat, you know, it'll be a little bit longer. But I don't know, I'm having fun doing this, so I think I'm going to continue listening to the audiobook, and that way I can get more of this done, because I have been having a good time making that. I'm glad that I was able to pick that up better. I found a YouTube video, and I'll link that down below, because I think he did a really great job of showing me how to knit. So I really appreciated that. So that's Snow Falling on Cedars. I don't think I've read anything else in my pile over there, but I did start Good Girl, Bad Blood, which is the second book of the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. And right now I'm on page 40. I'm supposed to read 7 chapters a day. Yesterday I was just too wiped to get the full 7 chapters in. I think I'm only like 20 pages behind. But it's pretty good. This one, without giving too many spoilers away, so Pippa, or Pip, is the main character, and she's 17 years old, and in the first book she solves a cold case, and then in this book she has put it all into a podcast and has been putting that out into the airwaves or whatever, and that's all we really know right now. That's as far as I'm in, so I don't know if what's going to then happen in this. I'm sure something is going to explode in some sort, and she's going to be a detective again. But what I really like about the beginning of this book, because I had read the first book last year in like November or October, I think it was October, and I remember it, but like you also forget certain features of it. So the beginning of this book does a really nice job of reiterating the facts without making you feel like, yeah, I know this. It was really cool how they did it. They did it like a review of the podcast. So it has mixed media in here a little bit, which is cool. And I'm really enjoying it. It's a young adult book, which I have not been getting into YA too much lately, but for a YA novel, I do really like this series. So I'm going to continue to read this today to get caught back up to chapter 14, where we're supposed to be for today, which it's a fast read. It just last night I was super tired. I was like, I can't do it. So I'll catch up today on this, which I'm really excited about. So this is a good one. Other than that, I really have to go grocery shopping. I just did my list. Now I have to like clean up. Obviously, this is not going out in public or even vlogging kind of style, but whatever. I know y'all don't judge, so. But I have to go grocery shopping. I have to stop at the dollar store, the $1.25 store. And yeah, that's about it. So I will talk to you all later. Good morning, friends. It is Wednesday morning and I've been up for a while. It's like 9:30 right now, a little after 9:30, and I've been up since like 5:30 reading. It's actually been a really successful morning for reading. I read in 4 different books. So I'm pretty excited about that. And right now, I am making myself some breakfast. So I have to flip some eggs and I'll be right back. Okay, so the books that I read, and I did bring them downstairs so I could actually show you. I started with Good Girl, Bad Blood, which is the second in that Good Girl's Guide to Murder book. And I don't know if I've talked to you about this yet. I'm on chapter 15, and that's like 142 in pages, and really enjoying it. This one, without giving you too much spoilers from the first book, but this one is like following up from the murder investigation from the first book, and now she's put all of her findings in a podcast, and one of her friends in her age level, their brother has disappeared, but the police won't do anything because he's kind of done these kind of things before, so they consider him low risk. But the mom and the brother being her friend, feel like there's something amiss. And as she starts to investigate, she's sensing that something is amiss as well. Her name being Pippa. Pip is a very interesting character. So she's 18, she's a senior in high school, and with that being said, the one thing that bothers me about this book story is that people are allowing an 18-year-old girl to like investigate and be a detective and all these things, like her parents, the police force. Like, I feel like she would have been stopped a long time ago, like impeding police investigation or trespassing or something like that. But like specifically in this book, she goes to the police first because she doesn't want to get involved, because in the last book, a lot of really bad things happened and she just doesn't want to put herself in that situation again. And they're basically like, yeah, we can't do anything. And she's like, well, I don't want to. And they basically like, they don't encourage her, but they basically know that she's going to investigate this herself. Don't you think if knowing her background of like diving deep, I mean, interrogating people, getting herself in harm's way, don't you think they'd be like, okay, we'll look into it? Because it's this young girl, and I guess now being an 18-year-old, an adult, like, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me that everyone's just letting her do this, knowing full well, like, she got into like a lot of trouble last time, like physical harm. Then let me move the eggs. So then I have another buddy read. Oh, so the Good Girl, Bad Blood, that is a buddy read with Naomi at Naomi's Bookshelf, if I haven't said that already. And then another buddy read that I started today is called Hooked Food, Free Will, and How the Food Giants Exploit Our Addictions by Michael Moss. I am reading this with Kim over at Bookmarks and Breadsticks. So far I've just read the prologue and my eyes glazed over like 3 or 4 times. He was basically explaining a certain case between a young 16-year-old girl and McDonald's, and how she's obese and whatnot, and it's McDonald's fault, I guess. And how like that kind of started a huge snowball effect of like fast food and food producers looking at the additives in food. So now in the next section that we'll start here, it's called Inside Addiction, and then I'm assuming that that's the first part, and we will see what comes of that. So I'm interested to see more. And I'm not saying like my eyes glazed over, it was boring. It was just more like a lot of information. It was like information overload, and it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. So I was probably like, whoa, too much information too early in the morning, but I am very interested to see where that goes. So I read some of that. Then I also listened to a little bit of Wolf Hall, which is the read-along that I'm participating in with Emily from Novelle Novels. And that, I'm like 58% in now. And I mean, it's pretty interesting, following the events of leading up to dethroning Catherine and getting Anne Boleyn in that spot. It's been interesting because there's always some issue. Like the most recent issue for what I was just listening to was there is a man who supposedly was betrothed to Anne Boleyn, and he was coming forward saying that they were married because like even an agreement means marriage or whatever. And then they basically like threatened him in a way, taking away all of his land and his titles if he didn't like basically recant his statements. So yeah, I mean, it's good. It's a lot of historical, in a fictional way, information. But I like that I'm listening to it on audio because I really do like the narration, and I think I've said that several times. Then the last book that I read on audio, but I have the physical and I've been following along, making sure I put my marker in, is Snow Falling on Cedars. And this is the book club pick for February for Double Book Co's book club. And I'm really liking this. The dogs keep barking, so never a free moment, people. Never a free moment. So anywho, Snow Falling on Cedars. I am really liking this book. I really have no idea where the storyline goes. I just know that there is a Japanese man who is being charged for a murder of a white man in this like fishing town in Washington, and it's in like the 1950s, and it keeps going back and forth. So it's in real time in the 50s in the court case, and then it'll flash back to like the 40s, pre and through the war. So the one thing I would say, and I'm sorry I'm out of breath, but walking in and out, and then this baby. There's a lot, there are a lot of characters that this author is describing, and he describes them in real time, and then he describes them in flashbacks, but then he also describes like their families and stuff in flashbacks. So sometimes it's hard to like keep up with who he's talking about. But at the point where I'm at, I'm on chapter 9. We're starting to see who the primary characters will be throughout the story. One being Ishmael, who is in real time a reporter, but in flashback, he is in love with the accused man's wife, who is Japanese, which at that time you did not commingle with the Japanese population. So it's like a like, what is the term I'm looking for? Baby brain. Oh my gosh, what's the word? Like, they're not allowed to be lovers. I can't even think. There are no words in here anymore. What is going on with my hair? Oh, well, that's cool. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. Maybe I haven't been showing much of it. Anywho, whoa, Danny, let's eat. Okay, so yeah, so this has been really good. What I have to do now, seeing that all of these are read-alongs and buddy reads, I have to contact all of our people and say, hey, this is what I think. But I'm gonna eat first, because if I can't think of words when I'm talking to myself, how am I gonna think of words when I'm talking to other people? So yeah, I hope you're all, what am I talking about anymore? Oh my gosh, it's gonna be a long day. Hi everyone. I'm laughing because it's like 2 o'clock. It's a little after 2 o'clock. And I've been up since 6, okay? I have been up since 6. I've been working. I have an Usborne party tonight, so I've been doing a lot of work with that. And then after I was done with that, around 9:30, I had breakfast. And then I have been reading Good Girl, Bad Blood. And I finished it. I couldn't stop reading. I could not stop reading. I'm supposed to finish this on like Sunday. It's Thursday. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, this is definitely getting a 4-star rating for me. Yeah. I can't give it a 5-star because there's some things that bother me about the book. Overall, just the fact that the police just are letting this 18-year-old girl do this. But it's really great. I love the podcast element. I really like the characters. There wasn't really one character that really set me off as far as like not liking them. It's so fast-paced, and once you hit the real like nitty-gritty clues and details of the story, you cannot stop reading it. You can't. You get one piece and you're like, oh my gosh, and you have to keep going. And the chapters are just short enough that they so entice you to just keep going and keep reading. So, you know, I don't get that excited about books that frequently. And if you watch my wrap-ups, you know that I have been kind of reading like crappy books lately. Like the books themselves aren't crappy, but I just have not been enjoying them as much as I could. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. If I were to say just purely based on engagement, I would give this a 5-star. But for other reasons, I really can't give it 5 stars because there's some issues there. But yeah, so I've just been reading. Now I've taken a break to eat again, to eat lunch. So I made myself some mac and cheese. And then I'm going to get ready and get some dishes done. I did half the dishes this morning. So I'm going to get the other half done then, and then I will get ready. I have more Usborne stuff to do tonight because I have a live show, so I have to like get beautified and figure out what books I want to talk about and all that jazz. So yeah, just hanging out in my new spot. It's easier for me to be upstairs because that's where the bathroom is. Otherwise, walking up and downstairs has been kind of difficult for me. Just get really winded, so I've been trying to like hunker in one spot. So this is my spot. So yeah, I'm going to relax for a little bit. I'm super happy that I finished this. I have sent my thoughts to Naomi. She has to read yet, which I'm sure she'll blast through it now too. But yeah, really excited to have this one read in the beginning of the month here, finish that, and it's been really good. So now I can move on to Hooked and some other books that I'm supposed to be reading this month as well. So yeah, I don't know if you'll see me anymore today, maybe, but once the mid-afternoon, or it is mid-afternoon, once the evening hits, I'm gonna be super busy, so I probably won't vlog any, but you might see me for one last sit down tomorrow. And then it'll be time to edit and post. So yeah. Ooh, okay. Really good book. Really, 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 really good book. Good morning. It's actually Saturday morning. But I wanted to make sure that I said goodbye to you. Yesterday, Friday, just was not good for me. I just was really tired and really worn out, and I ended up just staying in bed for most of the day. So there was no clip from yesterday, but I thought I would come in. Now I'm late in posting my vlog. Usually I have it posted by now, but I wanted to say goodbye for the week before I cobbled everything together. So you'll see this much later today. I do feel a little bit better today. I think I was just, you just have those days where you're tired, and yesterday was definitely one of those days. So I don't have any updates as far as reading or anything, so just wanted to say I hope you're having a great week and taking care, staying safe, reading something great, and then, as always, happy reading. Bye.
Good friend, and that's in the thick and thin.